Good afternoon and welcome. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. This is World at Noon. Ahead of this year's population headcount, Ondo State has inaugurated the State Population Census Management Committee, saddled with the responsibilities of sensitizing residents on the need for a credible exercise. Besides urging the people to make themselves available for enumerators, members of the committee are also expected to ensure that accurate figures are recorded for the 18 local government areas of the state. A statement by the Administrative Secretary, Ministry of Information and Orientation, Toyin Onishile, said the committee is chaired by the Commissioner for Economic Planning and Budget, Emmanuel Igbason, and the likes of Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Wale Akintarewa, Education Commissioner Femi Agagu, Commissioner for Information and Orientation Mrs. Bamidele Ademola Lateju, Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs Amidu Takuro as members. Other members of the committee are Commissioner for Environment Sunday Akinwalire, Chairman Ondo State Internal Revenue Service Tolu Adegbe, Director General Performance Projects, Implementation and Monitoring Unit Babajide Akeredolu, and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget Bio Phillips, even as the State Statistician General Wale Agumbiade will serve as the Secretary to the committee. The Ondo State Head of Service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, says he will remain committed to emplacing an agile, innovative and 21st century compliant civil service through adequate repositioning. Mr. Ogundele, while featuring an Osrc's policymakers engagement program, the Roundtable, said the goal of his leadership is to put in place a system that will not only be responsive to the goals of the government of the day, but also responsible to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Osrc Zaid Aribisala reports that a number of policies of government regarding the direction of the workforce were unveiled during the engagement.
Kayode Ogundele assumed office as the 15th head of service in Ondo State on August 3rd, 2022. Months into his tenure, he arrives at the headquarters of the Ondo State Media Group to feature on the Round Table, a program which engages policymakers, captain of industries, among others, with a view to deepening conversations for public accountability. The host and chairman, Osrc Media Group, Mr. Kule Adebayo, said the engagement is not only beaming light on salient issues, but equally cementing relationship between the people and the government.
We are proud that we have brought a man who is without blemish and whose service has come without backstabbing and hypocrisy at any point in time of his career. And we are happy that the governor of Ondo State, in making a choice of this our August visitor, sought a man who will help him in his last lap to deliver on a congenial civil service that can produce and that can help the state to anchor its policies to fruition. That is why we feel happy today that the most important issue which have been angling the minds of a lot of workers of this state, of a lot of people in this state who are not in the public service, we have the opportunity to put them in play here, and we have the man to also speak to them, to answer those questions, to shed light.
The head of service, Mr. Kayode Ogundele, noted that cogent actions are currently being taken in line with carefully mapped out work plan to make the civil service more innovative so as to meet up with the demands of the 21st century.
We are able to actually meet up with the demands of the 21st century. We are able to walk beyond just what people see as the slow pace of bureaucracy. We are able to walk at a pace that will ensure that what the government, the political class, what they have in mind to accomplish for the populace, that such things are brought to bear and they are accomplished with very limited resources and at a very good time. So we are talking about a civil service that will be very effective, a civil service that will be very efficient. A civil service that will be highly motivated to carry out their job. A civil service that is well trained. They know their onions, and they know what is required of them at any point in time. We are also talking about a civil service where lukewarmness, slothfulness, laziness has no place in our dictionary.
The head of service will noted that bureaucratic bottlenecks hitherto associated with civil service is fast disappearing from the system, even as he posited that reward is now a function of competency with no space for undue favoritism. He listed the achievements of his stewardship in the last 7 months to include robust engagement with labor unions, offset of backlog of salary arrears, approval of upward review of emoluments and allowances, just as consequential adjustment for pensioners has made the state first among equals.
We believe a step at a time, working in line with our set out goals, working in line with our work plans, would take us to that destination within a very short time. I want to say that within this period of my coming into the office, we have actually had some modest accomplishment and achievement that, to the glory of God, we can actually point out as some of those very strong selling points for government today. Because whatever is done, like I said, within the civil service has a way of actually reflecting the wishes of government for the public. Because we are also part of the populace. And what are some of these things that we have seen and accomplished? We have actually been able to, within this limited time, see a way of restructuring and reorganizing, because Osrc is a vehicle through which we believe we can achieve some of these things I've actually set out as what we want to see in our public service of this century.
Ogundele, however, insisted that government will not lower its standard in the quest to evolve a civil service that will be the benchmark for other states across the federation. Questions from newsmen within the media group and invited guests appraised reward and punishment within the system, human resources management, capacity building, and sundry issues. Mr. Ogundele also used the medium to announce that the new payment platform for salaries will soon take effect to eliminate fraud and encumbrances encountered by workers. The head of service, who was accompanied by Permanent Secretary, Office of Establishment and Training, and other top civil servants, pledged to keep the flag of efficiency flying to the admiration of government and people of Ondo State. Sahira Ribisala, Osrc News.
The federal government has declared tomorrow, Friday the 7th, and Monday the 10th of April 2023 as public holidays to mark this year's Easter celebration. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, made the declaration in Abuja in a statement signed by his ministry's Permanent Secretary, Shoaib Belgore. Aregbesola urged Christians to emulate the virtues of sacrifice, togetherness, forgiveness, kindness, love, and perseverance, which were attributes of the Lord Jesus Christ as exemplified by his ministry here on earth. The minister also called on all Nigerians to use the occasion of this year's Easter celebration to pray for an end to the security challenges in some parts of the country. Authorities in Zimbabwe have concluded plans to enact a law criminalizing the recruitment of its health professional by other countries. Vice President Constantino Chiwenga, who is also the country's health minister, said the drain of healthcare professionals was tantamount to human trafficking. He said stiffer penalties will be imposed on individuals robbing the nation of its limited human capital. Local media says more 4,000 doctors and nurses have left the country for greener pastures abroad since February 2021. The President of the United States of America, USA, Joe Biden, has urged citizens to speak out and act in order to fight anti-Semitism. Biden, in his Passover message, decried the rising attacks against Jewish people, saying failure to call out hatred amounts to complicity and Americans should not be silent. Biden said the exodus of Jews from Egypt represents a powerful story of faith, hope and redemption that has inspired oppressed people across the globe for generations. At least 4 young children have been killed by a man wielding a hatchet in a kindergarten in the city of Blumenau in southern Brazil. Another 4 children were injured by the 25-year-old man who entered the crèche. At least one of them is reportedly in a serious condition. Akintide Akinshomola has the detail.
Outside a kindergarten in Blumenau in southern Brazil, parents console each other after a fatal attack at the school. Police allege that a 25-year-old man wielding an axe gained access to the private school by scaling its walls. He has since been arrested.
No local nós constatamos o óbito de 4 crianças.
Among the victims, said the firefighter, 3 boys and a girl between the ages of 5 and 7. Of the injured, one of them was listed in serious condition, he said. The injured are between the ages of 3 and 5, the local hospital said. President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva described the attack a monstrosity on social media. Community members living near the school came with flowers and paid their respect to the victims.
We live here in the region. We have children studying at schools near the kindergarten, and we